What's up, everyone? Welcome into episode number 537, where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a special guest joining this episode, and that is a diver from Michigan, but competes at Youngstown State, Drew Miller. How you doing, Drew?
Good, how are you? Thanks again for having me on this podcast. I appreciate it, and I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining. Really appreciate. I know we've been talking a little bit about this for a while. I know you've been incredibly busy over at Youngstown State. I also know you just had your last meet before a conference. How did that meet go? How has really truly your whole season been going leading up to conference in a couple of weeks?
It's been good. We had our last meet. It was senior night, so it was a really good opportunity to honor those seniors and represent them one last time in the home pool.
Yeah.
Um, it was a good lead up to conference coming off of a break. It's usually a little bit tough from winter break going into it, but now the swimmers start their taper. We start getting more intense in our diving practices. So I'm looking forward to it as a team and individually going to conference and hopefully representing the school well and then representing Michigan well as well. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and I know it's a very competitive conference. I know it's a conference that goes back and forth a lot. I know it's a conference that obviously has teams like Oakland in it. I know that it's something that everyone looks forward to. Like it's truly kind of for swimmers, for divers, it's truly the last quote unquote big meet that everyone looks forward to. Obviously, nationals is a thing as well, and I'm sure that's probably a goal of yours to achieve going to nationals. But it's, in my opinion, one of the coolest meets. I think conference is awesome, and I think you truly see people not only like get better but step up in those big opportunities. And I know that this is your second conference, so how are you feeling about it now, having kind of one conference meet under your belt? Are you feeling a little bit more comfortable with it? Maybe a little bit more of an understanding of what conference is?
For sure. Yeah. Last year was a little bit overwhelming because we walked in
Yeah,
and there was more cameras than I've ever seen at one of my meets before, with ESPN there and stuff like that. So that was really cool, but a little bit overwhelming. So now I know a little bit more going into it, but the conference itself, all of the divers get along really well, and it's a really
good.
good and fun time to get everyone together at once and have that opportunity to compete against some of our best friends in the conference. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It should be a good event this year.
Yeah.
Our team is looking really good, and I'm excited to perform and compete with the seniors one last time and get that opportunity to prove myself again. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. And also, like you said, you get to perform in front of a ton of cameras. ESPN's going to be there. Did you ever expect to, in diving, that you'd be competing in so many cameras that ESPN would be there? Or has it truly like never like gotten old? Because for me, I feel like anytime you go to a conference, anytime you get ESPN in front of you, there's obviously a little bit of that like I don't want to say anxiety, a little bit of nerves, but it's also like, hey, like I'm going to be on ESPN, I'm going to be on ESPN Plus. That's just so cool in itself.
It's a super cool experience. It never gets old walking into a pool with cameras.
Yeah,
It's a really good experience to be on ESPN and say like, oh, like I've been on ESPN and
yeah,
have a little graphic of my name up when I'm diving. That's a pretty cool thing to look back and see. It's also a really good opportunity. We have a lot of international teammates, so their families can watch from home because a lot of them can't
exactly.
travel in for conference, and then
Yeah.
some of my extended family also gets to watch. So I think it's a really cool opportunity for us, and especially for those international teammates, they get a little bit under their belt and they get a little bit more support than they usually do. So it was good, and I'm looking forward to it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's something that you can like look back on and just like see kind of the film, see like go watch it again, see your name, see you competing. I know that you still have a couple years left to go, but let's continue to kind of look back on things before we get into Youngstown State a little bit, because how did you truly get started diving? Because I feel like most people think like, okay, like swimming, like you kind of get into like swimming at a young age and you just do it for a while. How did you get into the diving aspect of the sport?
Good question. So I started at a country club in Ann Arbor, mostly in Ann Arbor. It's on the border.
Okay.
It's called Travis Point Country Club, and my first coach was Christy Wing. And that was when I was about 9 years old. I started swimming and diving for the club because my parents saw an opportunity to put me and my sisters in another sport. So we did
Yeah.
that in the summers, and that's when I truly fell in love with the sport. I continued diving there all the way until my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Um, and now I've been an assistant coach with them for about 5 years.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
that's been a really cool opportunity coaching people from 4 years old to 17 years old. It's been really fun, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to hopefully going back this summer. Um, and then I tried middle school diving after that with my head coach, Kara Smith, where I dove under her in middle school and then all the way through
Okay.
high school as well. And she's awesome. I still go back and dive with her whenever I get the chance with a break. She was my first head coach at the high school and middle school level. So that was a really good opportunity, and the knowledge she brings to the sport is incredible. So that was a really good experience with her. And then during my sophomore season of high school, I decided that I might want to dive in college. So I started training um, with my club team, which is Legacy, and they're at Eastern Michigan. And that was
Okay.
under Kara Smith, my high school coach. She ran it with her husband, Buck Smith.
Okay.
Um, and then the knowledge and connections that they bring to the sport were incredible. So
Yeah.
there were a lot of coaches that I missed in there that have also influenced my diving career, but those uh those were kind of the cliff notes of how my diving career started and then continued on into college.
Exactly. And it has to be a little bit of a full circle moment, like not only going back to kind of the club that started it, but also going back when you're on break to like a coach that was pretty impactful pretty early on before like high school, because like obviously once you kind of get into high school, that's when maybe it becomes a little bit like more serious, when you might get a little bit more like obviously looks like college, especially when you start junior senior year. But like early on, like those like first like 4, 5, 6 years before you get into high school just has to be so important in development, and it has to be pretty cool kind of still going back, still training with them, but also helping out the people that truly started you in your journey.
For sure. I always love coaching the kids over the summer because it's a great opportunity to see kind of where I started and
Yeah.
see the experiences that I went through and see that these kids the impact that I have on them could be the same impact that the coaches at Travis Point had on me.
Yeah.
And then going back to club, it's great to see the high school team. When I graduated high school, I was a senior and the rest of the team were four freshmen on the team.
Were you
So
really? That's crazy.
yes. So it was a lot of fun. I was a team captain and we had a really good time, but it's really fun to go back and see them and their development. And Coach Kara is still coaching there, so it's fun to catch up with her and talk about diving with her. And yeah, it's a really good experience that I had and that I continue to have. And it's great to have that influence on some of the younger generations, and hopefully they can have the same good experiences that I had.
Yeah, and also hopefully they can be the next college divers. Like you just
For
continue
sure.
to see them grow, you continue to see you get better, and obviously you have continued to get better as well throughout like your diving career since you got into Youngstown State. But you specifically mentioned at 9 years old, you started swimming and diving. Was there any part of you that was like, hey, maybe swimming is a thing for me? Or was it always kind of diving? Like, why did you choose diving over swimming? Was it a little bit more fun than maybe swimming probably 1,000 yards?
Yeah, I was always a little more adventurous on the diving side and a little more curious when it came to diving. Swimming was fun when I started it, and I never disliked swimming, but diving was definitely I was a little bit more talented in it.
Yeah.
Growing up, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I was also a dancer, a competitive dancer for 14 years.
Okay. That's
Um,
awesome.
so that kind of influenced a lot of the different skills that I gained in diving.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of like the flipping and twisting and spinning and stuff that came from dance also translated into
Yeah.
diving, and that's kind of where a lot of the connections came. So a lot of the talent came into diving from there.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, there's still sometimes that I get on the other side of the pool and try swimming, but I'm nowhere near the collegiate level of swimming that I am for diving. So it's fun, but diving was always more of a passion of mine than swimming.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? There's always a diver's relay as well, so you can get a little bit of a scratch of swimming when you don't necessarily have to swim the thousands of yards. You can still obviously
Yes,
do what you enjoy, but get a little bit of a scratch of what a diver's relay looks like. I know some teams
for
do that,
sure.
some teams don't, but
Yeah,
that's kind of like the fun part of it, right? Is
for
seeing the
sure.
divers try swimming.
We at our Red V White meet, we always try and have divers go and swim. So this year, which is our inter squad meet, I'll talk a little bit more about it later, but they put me in the 200 free. I asked to be in the 50 free and they put me in the 200 and I was struggling. One of our guys broke the pool record at that meet, I believe, pool or school record, and I was like a
Wow.
minute behind him. It was a little bit humbling, but my
Yeah.
teammates were super supportive and it was a really fun experience. So
And you finished, right? Like that's the most
for sure,
important part is
yeah.
you finish the
It
race.
was tempting to get out, but it was fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is awesome. And obviously, like, that's like a memory that you're going to have for
For sure.
a really long time. And it's obviously something that you don't necessarily like do a ton, but like diver relays, I think are really awesome to do. And I think that's awesome that you guys do that.
For sure.
So you mentioned specifically that obviously diving was a little bit of something that like you came a little bit more natural to, like something that you enjoy a little bit more. You mentioned dancing as well. I haven't heard of a ton of connections between diving and dancing, but I've heard of a ton of like connections with like gymnastics, trampoline. So it obviously makes perfect sense that you have kind of these transition sports or people that have done these sports for so long. So because of that, like, did it become pretty, I don't want to say did it become pretty easy for you, but did it become a little bit more natural because you kind of had the dancing background?
Yeah, there's definitely a few key aspects from dance that went into diving. Not the same as gymnastics. I'm always a little jealous when a gymnast comes in and um, a lot of the flipping and stuff comes naturally. There's not so much flipping in dance, but a lot of the flexibility and like the pointed toes and
Yeah.
um, some of those key aspects and those skills that I learned from dance translated. Um, so that was I'm super grateful for dance and a lot of the discipline and um, different things that it taught me definitely translated into diving. So I wouldn't say it's like a direct crossover and not as big as like being a gymnast before a diver, but it definitely helped me become more natural with those instincts of flipping and pointing my toes and being more flexible.
Yeah, and obviously that helps you as like you kind of progress in diving, perform more difficult dives, making sure you're doing the little things that like can truly make a difference, that can truly like impact like your score. Because people talk a little bit about like the difference between eights, nines, tens. Like it's just insane. And I know that the college level, especially beyond like if you ever go to a trial or something like that, like it's just incredible. Like just like the little minute details. But I also know one thing that is extremely important is in diving is not only like visualization when it comes to difficult dives, but when it comes to spotting as well. How important are those two things just to make sure that you're doing the right things prior to diving, but also making sure that you kick out at the right time when it comes to spotting?
Yeah, for sure. Diving's a really tough sport, and you always have to be aware for anything. You can't really let your mind wander too much, or else you end up smacking, and it's just a matter of a split second
Yeah.
where a dive can turn in from a really nice dive to a smack. Um, so those fundamentals are super important. I was super grateful to have the opportunity to work with coaches in high school and club, and then even this past year, and then last year with my former coach, Feng Tang Chen. Um, she really emphasized those fundamentals. And then Ron Navarro, the current coach, he also has us doing these drills. But those build ups and those lead ups for the bigger dives are super important.
Yeah.
Um, and it's always an accomplishment to compete a new dive, but the fundamentals and basics are the more important building blocks of getting those bigger dives. So I would say it's super important. And kicking out at the right time is always um, trial and error, but once you get that good kick, it's super rewarding.
Exactly. And I feel like most people don't like know like how mentally and physically demanding diving is, especially like the mental part of it, because like obviously like you can't tell like what someone's thinking. You can't like tell like the impact someone has like when they smack. Like people see you smacking like okay, like that obviously probably doesn't feel well. And the craziest feeling, at least in my opinion, is sometimes smacking on 1 meter hurts more than 3 meter. I don't know. A ton of people might realize that, but it's just one of those things of like how just mentally like difficult and draining it can be, because if you continue to smack on a dive, like that truly can make a difference in not only your practice, but really what you think towards that dive. And if you have any quote unquote fear or concern about a dive, it's probably not going to go well the next time.
For sure. There's definitely a big factor in smacking, and I'm way too familiar with that feeling of smacking.
Yeah,
Happens often, but again, it's like trial and error. So I always try, like, if I smack, to get back up on the board and do another one that looks better. It depends on how bad the smack was, but
yeah,
um, I mean that's just kind of goes along with the sport. The smacking and the bruises on your body from those smacks. But like you said, sometimes 1 meter does hurt more than 3 meter, and then also sometimes a smack looks a lot worse than it was, or feels a lot worse than it looked.
yeah,
So it's just those little things. But then again, like the fundamentals that come into play, those are super important because I mean a strong kick out, learning that from like a back dive tuck really correlates with a back 2.5. And if you don't have that fundamental of kicking out, then you're going to smack most times on the back 2.5. So that's a big thing that I've learned in my college experience, especially transitioning up to 3 meter. Um, but yeah, mentally it can really tax you for the rest of practice. And then when you go back up to do that dive at the next practice, it really alters your brain with that. So those mental blocks, they're hard to overcome, but with time, it really comes with time and energy comes
yeah.
into play there. And helps you with the next time, and you get experience with those mental blocks, and then hopefully you can tear that wall down.
Exactly. And let's talk a little bit about that transition to college, because obviously you made the decision to dive at Youngstown State. But one thing a lot of people might not know, or probably people that know you, is that you made the decision to be a preferred walk-on at Youngstown State. And just how big was that decision to go kind of that route versus like other schools that might give you a scholarship, that might give you an opportunity, but might not necessarily be D1?
For sure. Going into college, it wasn't really um, kind of the recruiting process. I started reaching out to coaches my junior year of high school.
Okay.
Started going on a few visits to, and I was contacting people D3, D2, and D1.
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't, I didn't really have a preference between D1 or D2. I really just wanted the opportunity to dive in college at a competitive level.
Yeah.
Um, so being a preferred walk on, it was more about um, the major and the academics, along with the facilities and also the team
Okay.
and the coaches. So um, a lot of the schools I visited, it was super nice to see those campuses and those teams, but none of them really felt like home until
Yeah.
I stepped on the Youngstown campus and met the team on my official visit. I had some really good conversations with the team, and ultimately it just felt like the better fit to go there
Okay.
to be on that family. And then last year I was um, given the opportunity to receive a scholarship, um, and so that, or I earned the scholarship at conference. So that was a really good feeling.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm super grateful for the opportunities this has offered me. Not saying the other schools wouldn't have offered me those
Yeah.
opportunities, but this place really feels like home, and I really enjoy the friendships and the teammates that I've met.
Awesome. And I do want to put you on the spot a little bit. You don't have to go into very much detail. But you said last year at conference you earned that scholarship. Did they do anything specifically for you to like announce it? Was it more of just like your coach coming over saying, "Congrats, you're on scholarship"? Like, what kind of feeling is that like when you finally got told, like, "Hey, like you're not just a preferred walk-on, you're on scholarship now"?
For sure. So we always have our beginning of the season meetings, mid-season meetings, and then end of season meetings. Um, and at that point, my former coach from last year, she decided to step down.
Okay.
and so she was still the coach, but this was a meeting just with the head coach, who was also one of the swim coaches. So
Yeah.
I walked into it, and it has in our handbook kind of outlined how you earn the scholarship, and how you increase your scholarship once you do have a scholarship.
Yeah.
Um, but I wasn't really expecting much, and so I walked into that meeting and was super surprised. The first thing I did, he just kind of told me and wished me a congratulations, and we had a really good meeting
Oh, that's
before and
awesome.
after that. But the first thing I did after was I called my parents to tell them, and they were super excited. So it meant a lot to me. It really felt like the hard work was paying off, and it was a really surreal moment knowing that I was a Division I scholarship athlete.
Yeah, because it's not easy. Like you had a long season up to that point. You mentioned about the transition up to 3 meters. What was that like going from 1 meter, obviously having familiarity with it, to having to dive off a 3 meter, which is quite a bit taller, quite a bit more difficult. Also can lead to more difficult dives and also smacks that don't necessarily look as good as they do on 1 meter.
Yes, it was definitely, and it still is a work in progress. But going into college, I did one club meet that was 3 meter in the June before coming in as a freshman, and I was really just throwing myself off the board trying to make everything legal.
Yeah,
So coming into college, doing those different skills and those drills really helped. Um, and I will admit, like sometimes I still get scared going on 3 meter versus 1 meter, just because the dives are bigger, have a little
yeah.
bit more degree of difficulty to them. Uh, but now 3 meter has become my stronger board, so it's crazy how that shifted. It's definitely an adjustment, but competing 3 meter is super fun, and I'm really happy that it turned out like this and that I'm
Yeah.
able to compete at that level.
And isn't that kind of crazy to say though, like to admit that like, hey, like I was like nervous, like I had very little experience in this and now it's like your best sport? Like, is that something you ever truly thought was going to happen? Or you're more like, hey, I'm going to be really good on 1 meter, I'm going to continue at my strength, but I still have to do 3 meter now that I'm here.
I definitely didn't think I was going to be better at 3 meter than I was 1 meter. But with time that comes, but it's still a little bit interesting, like thinking like, oh, I really want to go do this dive up on 3 meter and I'm going to do it. I never really
Yeah.
would have thought that. I still remember we were at Skyline High School because our club had a pool maintenance issue and they have a 3 meter board. So I was up
Okay.
there and I remember learning my first front 1.5, and that was about a year before I went off to college, and that was I was so scared about that. So and I was saying that
Yeah.
I'm doing these high DD dives is pretty surreal to think about, and it's kind of a good feeling to look at all the progress that I've gained in college.
Absolutely, and probably the front 1.5 now. If I had to guess, you could probably do with your eyes closed or do it in your sleep. Now at 3 meter, and a few years ago, you're like, I don't know if I can do this, or at least can I get this around to make it legal. So it's really cool, kind of seeing that not only improvement, but seeing just how far you come. And I know you still have quite a ways left to go as well, and that has to be cool on your end too.
For sure, it's very cool. Thinking about the dives that I do now, I even if you asked me a year ago, I didn't think I'd be doing these dives. So it's a really good feeling to have seeing that progress.
Yeah, and obviously these are more difficult dives. Like you specifically mentioned, you have more confidence up there, but there's still some times where like you're a little nervous about it. And I know one thing that is extremely important to you, and I know one thing that you've been a part of at Youngstown, say out of many things that we'll talk about media here shortly. But I know one thing that is extremely important is your faith. Just talk a little bit about how important that is, but also how that plays not only into your life, not only into who you are, but how it helps you as an athlete, especially when maybe things aren't going as well, or maybe when you're nervous about to compete, or maybe when you're quote unquote, I don't want to say scared, but like scared to do a dive.
For sure. I mean, the mental aspect of diving is the most difficult thing in diving, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Um, I mean, there's definitely a physical component of diving, but it's really that mental aspect of it. And I struggled with that a lot as an athlete. but having faith in my faithful friends on my side has been a huge blessing going into college.
Yeah.
Um, and then one thing I want to talk about is I'm one of the leaders. There's about 8 of us all throughout athletics of Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Youngstown State.
Yeah.
And I'm super grateful for that club. I think our biggest attendance was 55 people this past
Oh, that's
semester. So
awesome.
it's great to see athletes coming together, and it's given me lifelong brothers and sisters in Christ, and also helped me build a stronger relationship with my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
But in the sport itself, I try and stay rooted and support in my support system, and then also the beliefs that I have. I have a daily mantra that I go by that I crafted at the beginning of last season and kind of tweak every here and there. But it talks about the 3 most important things in my life, which are faith, family, and friends.
I love
So I
that.
say that before every practice, just to kind of get me in a good mindset. Um, and then before and after competitions, I stay rooted in prayer and then remember that I'm still a son of God, whether or not the meet goes good or bad.
Yeah.
Um, and just knowing that He has a plan for me and all the courage and strength, not only in diving, but through school and life, really helps me get through the bad practices, but also the good practices, helps me stay humble and helps me stay positive throughout everything. So,
Yeah.
um, it's great that I could go into college and find these resources. My roommates are um, always down to pray or to study the Bible together. So
I love that.
it's great knowing that I have that support in my life, which I had in high school, but going into college and building those stronger relationships and building a stronger relationship with God was definitely a huge thing that I'm super grateful for and glad that He put that in my life for me.
Absolutely, and I love the faith, family, friends. Like that's not only you have the FCA with people that are very like-minded athletes, but people that believe the same things that they want to grow their faith. But then you also have like friends, you have family, you have people on the swim and dive team. Like that's kind of like a family like atmosphere, family culture. We can talk about kind of the diving culture a little bit. Like you specifically mentioned at the very beginning of it, how everyone in conference is extremely close with each other, how everyone probably cheers for each other, that when everyone wants to make everyone better, when everyone wants everyone to perform well. You have these types of pillars that you can see in your life, and it's not only going to make you obviously a better diver, but you're surrounded by people that believe the same things, that want to do the same things, and you're surrounded by a team at Youngstown State that truly seems to be not only the friends in that pillar, but also that family as well.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, just reflecting on this past meet with senior meet, we had a lot of the seniors talk after the meet about what this program means to them, and a lot of them just said, "Have fun," and this team is really a family. And I'm super grateful for that. And everyone on this team, whether they've had a positive experience or a more negative experience in the sport of swimming and diving, they all can agree that this team is one big family, and we help each other in the lows and support each other in the highs. So it's a
Yeah,
great thing, and I think it's also great that with this team, a lot of teams are kind of swimming and diving, and this one is more of like swimming and diving, but we're all together and we're one big family.
yeah,
There's not that separation, which was also a big thing in my recruiting. Um, and then also my support system at home with my actual family
yeah,
is great. They try and make it to all of my meets, and they're always supporting me, even though it's about 4 hours away. They're always here, calling me, or they're here for the meets, supporting me. So that support system is awesome. I know I can call home, and I have people on my side no matter what. So my faith, family, and friends, those 3 pillars mean the most to me, and it's whenever I'm having a bad day or something, that's what I'm reminded of, and it's great to have those people and those opportunities and experiences in my life.
yeah. You have people that you can go to, you have people that support you, you have people that you can talk to, and I think that's incredible. That your family drives 4 hours to any meet that you do. I think that's awesome. Is your family the type of family like obviously like you know they're going to be there, but like can you hear them? Is it something
Oh,
like
for sure.
I was just going to say, is there someone in your family that might be a little bit more louder than the others that you're like I know exactly who that is. That is blank.
I can definitely tell. I mean, I try and lock in when I'm on the board, and I try and drown out the sounds of everyone else, but I can always hear my mom and I can always hear my dad. And then I love watching the videos back, and you can kind of hear the reactions behind, and they're
Oh,
always
that's
cheering for
awesome.
me, both my mom and my dad. So, I mean, I always know they're there from their yells and their hollering after my dives. So it's awesome. I love their support, and I'm super grateful that they are willing, and they also are given the chance to drive and come see me, and it's great. Um, I'm super glad I have them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's incredible. Love seeing the support. I also want to get into a little bit more about like the seniors, the senior me, a little bit more about Youngstown as well, because you specifically mentioned obviously like the family. You mentioned about like what it means to everyone. And one thing that you specifically do is that you kind of get to capture a little bit of that. Talk a little bit about how you started the media side of things. Just how fun is it doing kind of the social media for the team, doing the graphics, doing the videos, doing the pictures? I know one video you're a part of, I believe it's for Halloween. You guys dressed up as ghosts. Just how fun is it to kind of have that quote unquote fun part of the swimming, the diving when you kind of can step away a little bit from like maybe like you said a difficult practice or maybe the pressure for a few minutes.
For sure. So our team helps the athletic department with the social media and marketing, which is essential for attracting recruits and also showcasing to our families and other people what our team is like. So it's great to capture those experiences and those moments. Um, so a lot of the graphics that you see is a committee of about 15 of us, and then last year I had the opportunity to step into a role with my teammate Amelia Motsky. She and I help run it now. And it's great. There's a lot of memories that we have of crafting videos. I mean, there's a lot of late nights, but it's all worth it. And
Yeah,
earlier this year, we collaborated with NCAA, so that was like one of the biggest surreal moments of like, wow, this is crazy. Like we're sort of going viral, and it was a really good um, experience that we had as a committee. But it's
yeah,
also I'm a marketing major and I'm minoring in social media campaigns.
okay,
Um, so it's a really good opportunity to also build my portfolio and build my strengths and skills in that aspect.
yeah,
Uh, so it's been a really great opportunity. It's given me a lot of um, skills of leading a group too, building the itineraries, doing different things behind the scenes, and the administrative work has taught me a lot of lessons about how to
yeah,
run a group and how to co-lead a group with someone else. So it's awesome. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I'm
yeah.
excited to see what else we can do in the committee with my time here in the next 2.5 years.
What is like in your opinion the proudest video or idea that you guys have done as a swim team that you're like I'm so proud that like we pulled that off? It could be a graphic, it could be a video, it could be maybe even the smallest thing in the world. What's something that you're super proud that you guys have done? It could be the NCAA thing as well because that's really cool in itself.
Yeah, I think I don't know if there's a single thing that I was most proud of. I know Amelia, she was kind of the director of when we got NCAA to collaborate with us. She was kind of the director of that, so I don't want to take her credit, but that was a really good moment
Yeah,
of our committee finding success. But I think just the growth in what we've done with the committee, it's been a lot more oriented towards the team and capturing those moments. So I think all the ideas that we have in those. I think I'm most proud of the creativity that we've succeeded with, and
yeah,
um, a few things that we're planning. I just did a graphic, and it was for senior nights, and it was the seniors their freshman year, and then going into their senior year. So I think that was one that I was showed a lot of my growth in graphics and creating those graphics, and it was also a fun thing to see those seniors change
yeah.
throughout the years. So I would say that's probably one of the most proud graphics that I've have. But overall, I think it's just the team of people that we have and the committee growth itself.
How weird is that going to be in a couple years when you might be making the same graphic, but you're in that graphic?
It's gonna be weird. I Time is flying by. It's crazy to think that moving into the dorms last year was so long ago, but it seems like time just flew. So it's weird thinking about it, knowing that I'm almost halfway through my college experience and halfway through having my time with the team. It's just got to take everything for granted and not let any opportunity pass or uh, I guess we call them like side quests, but
Yeah.
going out for late night ice cream or doing something like that, I try not to turn down any opportunity because we only get 4 years of this, and it's going to be tough to see that go in a few years. But yeah,
Yeah, but like it's a fun journey and it's
for sure.
probably a very, very busy journey. Like, how do you have as much time in a day that you do? Like, what is a D1 life day in, day out like for you? Because obviously you have classes, there's still that quote unquote student athlete part of it, student first, technically, and will probably always be that way. But then you have practice, you have the social media stuff. I'm sure you're probably running 1,000 miles per hour almost every single day.
For sure. It's definitely busy. The day in the life though, usually we have practice and lift. Or for diving it's just lift, but usually we start with a 6 a.m. lift, so we have to be there around 5:50 in the
That sounds
morning, and then
brutal.
yeah, it's brutal, but I mean the energy is unmatched in there because we're all working towards the same thing, and being
Yeah,
up earlier than the sun is kind of a good feeling. Knowing that you're working hard and you're getting after it super early. So
yeah.
um, the wake ups, I mean, they're tough at first, but you kind of get in the habit and the routine of them. So we lift usually 6 to 7, and then we go. I go home, make breakfast, usually do a little bit of homework or work for social media, and then usually I have class from anywhere between like 8 and 12.
Okay.
And then we have water practice from 12 to 2, and then dryland practice from 3 to 4. And then after that, usually I try and keep my nights pretty open, but some nights we have FCA and Bible studies. Some nights I go to a leadership thing for FCA.
Okay.
Some nights we have social media meetings. So kind of depends daily, but usually I try and keep the nights open just to do homework, to do different things. This weekend we're going to a hockey game in downtown Youngstown, so that'll be
Oh,
fun.
that's
Just
awesome.
different team bonding events are filling out my evenings, which are nice. I don't have any night classes this semester, which I'm grateful for because
Yeah.
those are pretty brutal to go to after practice. But
Oh, yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I try and find enough time to have free time for myself and to live the college experience with my roommates and teammates, but also stay rooted in my courses and the different classes and projects and social media things that arise.
Exactly. And I really do appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your free time to join. It's been awesome
Of
talking with
course.
you. And I do have a few more questions before we wrap up here. I don't want to take up a ton of your time. I know, obviously you have school. Hopefully you're still able to do some fun things tonight. But what does it mean to you to be a part of not only a swim and dive team like Youngstown State, but like to represent your school and to be a D1 diver and kind of wear the Youngstown State just gear wherever you go?
For sure. It's um, definitely an experience. Being at a Division 1 level, it has its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
Um, just like any other Division 2 or any other college athletes, they know the highs and the lows and the hard work that you have to put in. But it's unmatched wearing this Y and representing the Y. The facilities that we have and the different gear that we get. It's always a surreal feeling to walk in somewhere knowing that you represent a Division 1 team and um, you're able to compete and perform at a Division 1 level. Um,
Yeah.
so it's super unique and it's definitely a different experience, but it's something I would never trade for. And having the team and the environment is just great. And I'm super glad that I was given the opportunity, and I'm super glad that I ended up here.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people obviously want to be D1 athletes, and there's a small percentage that can, but a lot of people only truly think about like the good things about being a D1 athlete, like the stuff that you get, like the attention, like the social media, like just saying you're a D1 athlete. But at the same time, like you mentioned, like there's ups and downs, like there's certain expectations, like you have to perform a specific way. There's obviously like the difficult practices. You also add in like stress, you add in school. Like obviously being a D1 athlete is great and it seems like you love it, but from talking with any D1 athlete that I've had on here, it's basically a job. Like it's something that you truly have to love and something that they would never change. But there's a little bit more that goes into it than just quote unquote stepping up in like the spotlight and saying, "Oh, that's really cool." There takes a lot of time and effort and a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, maybe even some tears, maybe some welts on the way to get to that point.
For sure, there's definitely blood, sweat, and tears with any Division One or any collegiate sport. But
Yeah,
I mean, we have such a good support system, and our coaches really care about our mental health and physical health. So even today, we had a meeting about mental health with some people and some resources on campus. So that
yeah,
was great. And then for academics, we have our own tutors and our own people that are helping us in those study tables and helping us get to where we need to be to one stay eligible, but also compete with some of the prestigious universities in the country on our academics.
yeah.
So that's the support that we have and the trainers that we have, and just everything comes together to make this a really good experience. So, I mean, it's inevitable that we will have those bad days and those tough days, but the support that we have really gets us through and gets us on track to not only do well while we're in college, but also go and do well after college, whether that's continuing on with the sport or shifting into a corporate lifestyle or a working lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you can see yourself like continuing in the sport? It could be obviously trying to continue going for it. It could be trying to train to get you trials. It could be coaching. I know one thing that you still do, like you mentioned, is coaching. Can you see yourself continuing to stay involved in a sport that you've done for so long, or is that not something that you necessarily have thought of? And maybe that's a conversation if you come back on in a few years.
I think after 4 years in college, I'll probably be done with physical diving, but I definitely want
Okay.
to keep coaching. I mean, I think it's tough to let go of sport that you've been doing almost your whole life. So definitely,
Yeah.
coaching or staying involved with sports. It depends on what happens after college with marketing and going into the different lifestyle of that. So I might take a few years to focus on the different aspects of getting into the work field, but I definitely want to either coach at a high school level or maybe even like a smaller college level, just to stay involved in the sport and really
Yeah.
encourage and inspire those younger athletes.
Yeah, give back to a sport that has given so much to you.
For sure. Exactly. Well
And,
said.
and what has it given you? Like, what does diving mean to you? What has your journey, what has it truly taught you about not only yourself, but also like what you can accomplish?
For sure. I mean, apart from the sport, it's giving me my best friends. It's giving me the groomsmen that'll be in my wedding when I'm older.
Yeah,
And those relationships that I've built in high school and then in college and at club, um, I wouldn't trade for the world. So it's definitely given me those relationships. But the sport itself has taught me discipline. It's taught me how to be not only a better athlete, but a better person, and staying emotionally intelligent and not only in the sport but helping other people and being a good community person. Our
yeah.
our program really emphasizes helping out the community and being involved in the community. So even outside of the pool, I would say the sport has given me so many opportunities and so many experiences that I definitely have grown as a person and am super grateful for.
I love that. And you got still 2.5 more years left to
For
go
sure.
at Youngstown. So not only are you going to get more of those opportunities, you're going to continue to get better. I know it's something that you obviously look really forward to. I know you really look forward to conference coming up here shortly. And I do really hope you do well. I do hope your team does
Thank you.
well as well. I know that's something that you guys have been looking forward to. But I'm going to wrap up with one last question. I'm going to allow you to kind of pitch a little bit about diving. Why should anyone listening to this, if they're considering a winter sport or just any sport in general, if they don't do one, why should they start diving?
Ooh, there's so many things that I could say about diving, but I would recommend diving or just doing, I mean, if you're a prospective college athlete, joining college athletics or even a club team in college. But specifically diving, it's super hard, but super, super rewarding. When you hit those dives, when you get out of the water and you hear your scores after a really good dive, it's the most rewarding feeling. It's given me relationships that I could never even ponder if I didn't dive. So collegiate sports have given me great experiences, and you can't really get that without them. But also
Yeah,
diving itself has given me so many life lessons. It's given me so many memories, and I think if uh if anything you're just sitting at home, I think you should try either swimming or diving in the winter because it's great and you really group up with a family that you'll never
yeah.
forget. Even my high school teammates, I still keep in touch with them and we get together on the breaks and stuff. So it's just being on a team and being in that environment is super important and gives you different experiences, opportunities, and different relationships that you'll never get out of the pool.
Absolutely, completely agree. And that's one thing of why I love sports is not only the community, but what you can learn from it, how it can make you better, kind of the impact sports can have. And you can truly tell that diving has had a big impact on you, and it's something that you obviously love to do. And I truly do appreciate you joining, talking a little bit about the impact that the sport has had. And like I said a little while ago, I truly do wish you the best of luck at conference. I wish you the best of luck the next couple of years beyond that as well. I think you're going to be extremely successful. And one thing I always say to anyone that ever joins is if you ever want to come back on, talk a little bit more diving. Would love to have you back on. No pressure whatsoever. But I really appreciate you joining, Drew. It's been awesome.
For sure. And I appreciate what you're doing with athletes in Michigan and from Michigan. I think it's great to stay in touch with the community and really draw out the athletes from Michigan. So thanks for having me on. And I would definitely look forward to being on this again, maybe my senior year, and kind of reflecting on the experiences I've had.
Absolutely would love that. Like I said, thank you again for joining. Good luck in these next couple of weeks. Good luck in the next couple of years. Really hope things go extremely well for you. And yeah, that is a wrap to episode number 537. Thank you again to Drew for joining and tune in to the next episode.